Hey, that's how the last movie started. Also, reading. Also, if I'm supposed to be reading and absorbing all this, f*** you. And if there's a quiz, I'm keying your car, teach. As we're about to see, the Empire is going to get their asses kicked yet again, with Luke Skywalker leading the charge.
Aside from the Death Star, during this entire series, we never see the Empire bring an aerial attack on a planet. They just send down these cumbersome Imperial walkers.
So what did they do to actually win something for once? And if they were winning, why were so many of the rebels allowed to flee across the galaxy? Okay, so this is a remote ice planet, I'm assuming, where no one really lived before, because it's colder than f***. But the rebels came here and then found, tamed, and learned how to ride the indigenous Tauntauns, and built a whole base inside the mountain in 3 years, and no one from the Empire had any idea. Don't you think this was a little like the Oregon Trail for a while? You have died of dysentery. Well, that was some convenient timing, assuming this planet is not super tiny. What are the odds Luke's patrol coincides perfectly with the probe's arrival?
Steady, girl. Hey, what's the matter?
Discount horse. Movie rips off Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer's abominable snowman. Thankfully for Luke, this species of snow monster drags its prey back to the cave before fully killing it. Holy shit. Who would have guessed that of all 3 movies, including the one where she wears a bikini, that this would be the sexiest Leia moment of all? Discount Hoth Chic C-3PO.
I thought you had decided to stay.
Well, the bounty hunter we ran into when Lord Mendel changed my mind.
First off, Han refers to some other adventure we have no context for unless we read the f***ing books. Second off, Han decides it's time to go because he ran into a bounty hunter on some other planet who obviously doesn't know where he is now. It's been 3 years. Does Han actually think it's best to risk his freedom by going to Jabba now?
Excuse me, sir. Might I? Yes, sir.
Covering a robot's mouth actually stops it from making noise. Huh. Who knew?
Are the speeders ready?
Not yet. We're having some trouble adapting them to the code.
Which is weird, because everything else works on this planet regardless of cold.
Your tauntaun will freeze before you reach the first marker.
Then I'll see you in hell!
Hungry Wampa decided to knock out Luke and put him in the fridge before eating him. And Luke has been dangling upside down unconscious for who knows how long. Blood running to his head, and before you go telling me his Jedi ways help him avoid traditional physiological problems like that, I'll point out his Jedi ways did jack and shit to help him avoid landing in this situation to begin with. The real question is, how did that lightsaber manage to fall close enough to Luke for this, but far enough away that it couldn't have just slipped out of his holster and fallen straight down? I get what you're going for here, I really do, but in the last movie you showed me this asshole using the Force while blind to deflect unseen laser blasts from a drone. How can he do that, but not this? What is it about this series and cutting arms or hands off? Luke is smart, right? Why doesn't he just kill that thing and stay in the cave? Han's so worried about nightfall he's headed out to find Luke, and he does, but only because Luke is stupid enough to wander out of the cave just before nightfall. So Luke left the beast's cave, fell unconscious for a bit, but then woke back up and started walking again? Really? Luckily for Luke and Han, this planet's freezing temperatures do not lead to hypothermia and quick death.
Luke!
This asshole only shows up in the absolute most extreme Luke might die situations. Why couldn't he appear to Luke 4 hours earlier and say, Luke, do not explore the meteorite you saw?
You will go to the Dagobah system.
Provided, of course, that Han sticks you in a dead tauntaun so that you can live. Also, the Dagobah system sounds racist.
There you will learn from Yoda, the Jedi Master who instructed me.
Sorry I didn't tell you this sooner over the last 3 years. I was baking brownies. Minutes in my time are years in your time. I still say that in all the Star Wars movies, the most unbelievable thing is that Han somehow finds Luke during dusk on a huge snow planet. Tauntaun Ex Machina.
But it'll keep you warm.
How does Han stuff Luke into a tauntaun belly? They're not much bigger than humans. Han somehow survives the bitter cold all through the night without getting inside the tauntaun himself. That sounded dirty, but Han should be frozen much like Luke was a minute ago. Why is this asshole flying up and down over the hills, rather than just flying over the hills? Does he like to cheat death on rescue missions? Hoth Spa. Also, these things have very little privacy. This guy has to rehab in front of everyone in a diaper.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
What's worse, this lame-ass insult or the fact that Chewie found it funny? Neither the Force nor Obi-Wan has told Luke about Leia being his sister yet, even though it's been 3 years. This must be a massive, very dark practical joke. Translation, this is some f***ed up shit right here.
It's metal.
Then it couldn't be one of those creatures.
Could be a speeder, one of ours.
You mean the speeders you were just told last night can't go out in the cold? Can we all at least agree that in this one instance Han shot second?
That is the system, and I'm sure Skywalker is with them. Set your course for the Hoth system.
Look, if you're sure, as you say, why did it take a drone report and a photograph for you to figure out Skywalker's location?
The rebels are alerted to our presence. Admiral Ozzel came out of light speed too close to the system.
Why didn't Vader specifically leave an order not to do that? Or is the movie saying no one could have possibly known that and Vader's just being a dick?
Sir, rebel ships are coming into our sector.
Good.
Our first catch of the day.
After one small ship beat the Death Star, ignorance and confidence are the same thing. So you can land these things outside the energy shield, but you can't get some quick fighters down here to perform an aerial assault. Look, these things are awesome in many ways, but that doesn't mean they make sense. Besides, how are these things not using tracks like tanks to move? They needed to use actual freaking legs. Also, movie completely glosses over how much slipping and sliding should be going on with all this snow and ice.
Row group, use your harpoons and tow cables. Go for the legs.
Why the hell do these small fighters have tow cables? For towing a 1974 Buick? And harpoons for, I guess, whaling? Goddamn, falling down makes these Imperial walkers go from bulletproof to flammable as hell. The birthing process between walkers on Hoth was accelerated tenfold, and the baby is already walking. I didn't even see any f***ing, so this is amazing. Ku Klux Stormtrooper. Luke survives this crash. Honestly, how do you guys even build all this underground infrastructure in snow anyway?
This bucket of bolts is never gonna get us past that blockade.
That's kind of true, but why was Luke's X-Wing somehow able to get through the blockade no problem? Man, this ship is always taking off just in the nick of time, and while being shot at. I'm sure it takes off under normal, calm circumstances plenty of times, but we don't ever seem to see it. Vader senses or sees the Falcon leave, but does not apparently sense his son Luke, fellow Force user, a few hundred feet above him on the snow. Okay, so why can't he use the Force to maybe even slightly knock the ship off course and crash it into the mountain? As we learned from Yoda, size doesn't matter, so why not at least try? Or rather, do, because there is no try. Here's another thing. How are there not any Imperial ships guarding the exit off the planet? We even heard them talk about a blockade earlier, so where is it?
And the rebels didn't find some other side of the planet where the blockade wouldn't affect them, so what gives?
Two of these three Star Destroyers pursuing the Falcon run into each other. How is that possible? How do you not see another Star Destroyer in your path? Do you not have radar, training, skill? Who's flying the ship right now? Leia? Autopilot evasion software?
That wasn't a laser blast. Something hit us.
Like an asteroid? How does an asteroid hit you when you're not dead yet? Water creatures in the Star Wars franchise never find the heroes tasty. Oh yeah, and how is R2 still working right now with all that sludge in his system? Whoa, that does not look like James Earl Jones at all.
Does that include shutting me down too?
No, need you to talk to the Falcon. Find out what's wrong with the hyperdrive.
But he just said what was wrong with the hyperdrive a few minutes ago, didn't he?
I noticed earlier the hyperdrive motivator has been damaged.
And you didn't fix it because you hit the asteroid field before you could do anything. So that's still the problem, right?
I'm looking for someone.
Looking? Found someone you have, I would say,
Tonight on Unsolved Mysteries, we'll try to figure out where Yoda's sense of humor went after this one scene in The Empire Strikes Back. Luke's dinner consists of Cheetos, blocks that look like cheese, some sort of white candy or pills, hush puppies, and strips of drywall.
You seek Yoda.
You know him?
Take it to him, I will.
Just like Obi-Wan, Yoda initially pretends not to be the person he actually is, mostly just to f with the audience. I mean, Luke.
I believe, sir, it says that the power coupling on the negative axis has been polarized.
Is that another way of saying the hyperdrive motivator is damaged, or is this some completely new invented bullshit reason for the hyperdrive not to work?
Sir, I've isolated the reverse power flux coupling.
The C in C-3PO stands for cockblock. Where the f is this? Why are holograms just shooting out of the floor here?
Why are there screens in some instances and random holograms in others?
I have no doubt this boy is the offspring of Anakin Skywalker.
Which is a weird thing to say to Anakin Skywalker. Also, didn't the very fact that his name is Luke Skywalker tip you off? You can't seriously expect us to believe that after Luke destroyed the Death Star, the Empire didn't hear what the hell his name was. Also, Luke was hidden on another planet so that Darth Vader couldn't find him, yet he kept the name Skywalker.
I cannot teach him. The boy has no patience.
Yoda talks about Luke to a ghost in front of Luke, and this is his way of revealing himself to actually be Yoda.
This one, a long time have I watched. All his life as he looked away to the future, to the horizon.
Maybe because you assholes stuck him on a shitty distant planet with his aunt and uncle and gave him no other type of future to look forward to. How the hell do you blame him for that? Are you saying if he'd stuck around on Tatooine and enjoyed dusting crops, you'd have flown out here like magic to train him? I think not. Either way, he's not a Jedi. What the fuck?
You are reckless.
So was I, if you remember.
Obi-Wan is basically Jedi Ghost lawyer here.
He is too old.
Is Yoda cranky? Does he not really want to train Luke? Why the 100 excuses thing? I know we're building tension for the audience. I mean Luke, but other than that, why is he so resistant? This movie is basically saying Ghost Obi-Wan is wiser than 800-year-old Yoda, which is just f***ing stupid. Cool for sure, but how does a creature this giant survive on an asteroid with little to no food available?
A Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack.
But tell me why I can't...
No, there is no why.
Jedi Master gets frustrated with obvious questions. I thought you assholes were supposed to be at peace with everything, even annoying trainees.
That place is strong, but the dark side of the Force, a domain of evil it is.
There's a domain of evil sitting around just being evil in the Dagobah system? What the f*** for?
Your weapons. You will not need them.
Because you see this evil domain strong with the dark side of the Force out in the middle of nowhere, it just, well, it's here for psychological reasons. In the unlikely case someone comes down here. It's a strict Freudian, I hear. What will really bake your noodle is what this would have been if Luke hadn't brought his weapons with him. Also, face your adversary in a dream before facing them in real life cliché. Someone set this video game to the easy setting. Symbolism. Also, Luke cuts off Dream Vader's head and sees his own face inside, and still can't figure out what's going on. The Force is literally screaming the truth at him, but he's not listening. So Darth Vader's orders are that he wants the passengers alive. So why are these millions of green lasers getting shot at the ship right now? What happens if one of these things ends up destroying the ship?
Try not. Do. Or do not. There is no try. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter.
Yoda breaks the teacher-student boundary rule. Okay, so after this big talk about how rocks and spaceships are different from each other, and size doesn't matter and all that jazz, Yoda then proceeds to power the ship out of the water, but with considerable effort, I might add. If the Force supposedly doesn't distinguish the size of objects, this thing should have emerged immediately.
I don't believe it.
That is why you fail.
Pimp. I'm taking a sin off for that too. Yoda is too badass.
Captain Solo, this time you have gone too far.
What the hell is he blabbing about? Gone too far? In what way? This is an amazing move of considerable cunning, and it got them out of being captured or killed. It at the very least bought time, even if he didn't have a plan after that. Instead of waiting even a few minutes after floating away with the garbage before taking off, Han takes off immediately, thereby allowing himself to be trailed. Boba Fett makes one of the luckiest guesses ever and has himself shot out with the trash to follow the Falcon, just in case it was doing the old attach yourself to the big ship so it can't be read by their scopes, and leave when they empty their trash trick. Also, why can't the Falcon detect this ship right behind it?
If you leave now, help them you could, but you will destroy all for which they have fought and suffered.
Because your dad is Darth Vader and he can turn you to the dark side and the rebels would lose the war. But that's a spoiler for the audience that you, the most important character in this movie, is just better off not knowing.
Welcome, Leia.
Leia isn't pregnant with Lando's baby already.
It is you and your abilities the Emperor wants.
And also, Darth Vader is your Damn, I can't tell him that until the big surprise, can I?
If you end your training now, if you choose the quick and easy path, as Vader did, you will become an agent of evil.
Except he doesn't, so in your face, false prediction Yoda.
That boy is our last hope.
No, there is another.
Kinda makes you wonder what would have happened if Luke got killed or turned to the dark side. Would Leia have received a vision to go to Dagobah somehow? But Yoda would have died before she got there, leaving nobody to train her. I'm guessing her training would have consisted of going to the library, learning Jedi Master from microfiche, and also stuff about demons. Lots and lots of demons. Threep away. Aha! Proof that Cloud City is funded by Gringotts. I'm surprised Vader didn't shoot Han first.
I had no choice. They arrived right before you did.
How did they do that? Even if Boba Fett tells Vader that they're going to Cloud City immediately after he starts following the Falcon has a huge head start, and this is after the Star Destroyers went into lightspeed in a different direction. Empire scientists create another what the f*** is that thing for a torture device. It looks like it's made of at least 5 failed science projects. This contraption does things so horrible, it's better left off screen, because whatever bullshit that thing is doing is probably bullshit, but it sure does hurt.
Oh yes, that's very good. I like that.
C-3PO's reconstructive porn dialogue.
Oh my! What have you done? I'm backwards, you flea-bitten furball!
You know, C-3PO was kind of an annoying character in the first movie, but lovably so. In Empire, he's a whiny know-it-all who's actually kind of mean.
I love you.
I know.
No, Walt Disney.
Skywalker has just landed, my lord.
Good. See to it that he finds his way in here.
Awesome. How the f*** do I do that? Do you think he'd respond to breadcrumbs? What the f***? Is David Copperfield pushing that thing? Ilando.
Luke! Luke, don't, it's a trap!
Somehow, despite this scene, it's still Admiral Akbar that is most remembered for saying it's a trap. Also, like any hero in any adventure, Luke ignores his friend's warning that it's all a trap, because the power of space boners is stronger. Oh, they actually succeeded in following Vader's orders to lead Luke here, by parading the prisoners around in circles below this arena until he showed up, apparently.
Do you think that after what you did to Han, the world...
Oh, come on. This is one of those things where I understand, but I don't understand. He just risked his own neck to take you out of custody, but we're going to waste time with trust issues after a baller move like that?
Just try it out!
We don't need any of your help.
Really? Like the kind that just freed you from captivity so you could escape? You don't need that kind of help.
Put Captain Solo in the cargo hold.
Unnecessary orders. Rest of the good guys running directly by random spot R2-D2 just happen to wind up cliché.
Obi-Wan has taught you well.
Why does Vader assume that Obi-Wan taught Luke? And we know that Luke doesn't quite have a hold of his thoughts and his emotions yet, so how does Yoda not pop into Darth Vader's head? And if dead Obi-Wan could have done the training, why did Luke even have to go to the Dagobah system? Already this lightsaber battle is complex enough to confirm my suspicions that Vader was merely humoring Obi-Wan last movie. Vader starts using the Force to throw objects at Luke during the battle, which not only feels like cheating, but also makes me wonder why he doesn't do more of that. Well, here's the Millennium Falcon again, taking off amidst yet another hail of laser fire. There goes another limb! No one just gets stabbed by a lightsaber in this series, do they?
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
For reasons pretty unclear, considering you would be finding out anyway via the Force, or in this case, dramatic reveal to the audience.
He told me you killed him.
No. I am your father.
We're gonna get a supreme bullshit explanation for this discrepancy, aren't we?
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
It requires about 10 syllables to say no in Tatooine English, or Tattoo English. Also, no. Movie paints suicide as the noble choice. Luke falls off a bridge, basically to his death, and then is saved by this thing. I don't know what it is, or if Luke knew it would do this, but what a crazy asshole random this is. Well, if the antenna isn't an ex machina, him somehow grabbing onto it while falling definitely is.
Look, someone's up there.
How can you tell that from this distance?
Luke.
Father.
Damn, he went right into the acceptance phase of that shocker, didn't he?
Why didn't you tell me?
Because if he had, it wouldn't have been a big whammy for the audience. How can this character not know he's in a movie, for Christ's sake? You guys have hyperdrive, right? Meanwhile, here's a load of rebel ships that managed to somehow escape the Hoth blockade without incident. We didn't show you that because we showed you the Millennium Falcon's escape attempt, but it totally happened. I promise.
You are the father!
Hey, girl. Hey, what's the matter? You smell something?
I'm late for a very important date.
There is no spoon.
Oh, here's a fun fact. You made out with your sister, man! Chewie, take care of yourself, okay?
Brother's got a hug.
Beef. It's what's for dinner.
James T. Kirk.
In there. I'm finished. No! Bones! I'm wearing a Viridian patch on my back. Spock slapped it there just before we went on Gorkin's ship.
R2 says the chances of survival are 725 to 1.
Please, don't quote me the price when I haven't got the time.
Tommy, how's the peeping? Tommy, how's the peeping?
I ain't been dropping no eaves, sir, honest.
I cannot teach him. The boy has no patience.
If you build it, he will come.
Friends you have there.
They were in pain.
You have the sight now, Neo.
There are 2 rules to remember if you want to have a good time. Rule number 1, never run out of Colt 45. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1.